Hey everybody, Bill Stainton here, and I've been working with leaders and their teams for years, helping them find innovative solutions to their most challenging problems. Because see, the smart leaders realize that in both good times and in bad, the ability to come up with innovative ideas on demand, that's a game changer. And of course, it's more important now than ever as we all try and navigate this crazy world that we're in. Because see, the way you run your business now has to be different than the way you were running it just a few months ago. And I know this because my business is no different. See, until a few months ago, I did a lot of my work on stages around the world as a keynote speaker on innovation, creativity, and breakthrough thinking. I'm still helping organizations become more innovative, except now I'm doing it from my home studio here in Seattle. And for me, it's kind of like coming home in another way too. See, being on camera is something I did for 15 years when I was the producer of Seattle's #1 rated comedy TV show, Almost Live. I worked both in front of and behind the camera, and I got pretty good at it too. In fact, I won 29 Emmy Awards. Oh look, there's one now! The point is, this whole virtual thing, it's nothing new to me. I know how to put together an event that engages people. It's kind of like watching a Harry Potter movie versus reading the book. It's just a different way of experiencing the same story. And in this case, the story is the one that you and your team will write once you know how innovation really works. And it's not hard. It's really just a 3-step framework that I can walk you through. So here's what I'd like you to do. Take a few minutes today and think about what it would look like if you and your team had more ideas, more solutions, more engagement, more optimism about where your business is going. Because see, these are the results that you get once you unlock that ability to innovate. An ability, by the way, that you and your team already have. Think about that. And then if you think an interactive experience with your team that includes practical strategies that they can start using immediately, and I mean like right then and there before the workshop is even over, as well as tools and templates that you can use in your own strategy sessions. If you think that sounds valuable, then let's talk. And let's schedule a free one-on-one unlocking your innovation session, where we'll create a clear picture of where your business can be. We'll unlock some of the challenges that might be holding you back, and then come up with a few steps that you can take right away to move your business forward. Do you like sitting next to weird people? I don't like sitting next to weird people. I think that's true for most of us, don't you? I mean, especially if you've actually ridden on a city bus, because, you know, weird. Here's the problem with that, though. It turns out that the weird people, they're almost never really weird, right? I mean, they're just different. And when we avoid people who are different, experiences that are different, ideas that are different, we're missing out on the connections that are the building blocks of innovation. Your next breakthrough might be just one connection away, and if you miss it, it's gone. A few years ago, I was flying home to Seattle from New York. I had an aisle seat, and sitting next to me in the middle seat was nobody. I know, that's like getting an upgrade, right? So I'm like doing my little internal happy dance when just before the doors close, one last passenger gets on the plane. And she was different. I didn't take a picture, that would have been rude, but this isn't too far off. So as she's shuffling and wheezing down the aisle, I'm looking around, I'm thinking, wait, don't panic, Bill, it's a big plane, come on, what are the odds? I'll tell you what the odds were, 100%. Yep, she stops right beside me, pokes me with her bony finger, points to my empty middle seat, and says, please, I am there. No more happy dance. So I did what you might have done. I put on my headphones. And I escaped into my music. Music has always been my escape. Who's with me on this? Yeah. So for the next 5 hours, I escape. Beatles, Beethoven, Miles Davis. And then because I was reading a book, a biography about one of my musical heroes, Stravinsky, I cap it off by listening to his magnificent Firebird Suite. as we approach Seattle. Middle seat pokes me again. Apparently it's time for the obligatory final descent conversation. You know this one? Is home for you? I'm sorry, what? Is home for you? Is home for... Oh, you mean Seattle? Yes. How about you? No, I have a long way to go. I go to Russia. Yeah, that's a long way. Da, I have not been there since I was young woman. I was teacher. And here we go. Teacher, okay. So what did you teach? Music. Did you teach Russian music? Of course. Okay, okay, see that's it's actually kind of amazing because I was just listening. I mean, like just now to Stravinsky's Firebird Suite. Oh, Stravinsky, the Firebird. I was with him when he wrote it. And then the plane pulled up to the gate. I never saw her again. I had just flown across the continent, separated by only 5 inches and a pair of headphones, from possibly the most fascinating person I would ever meet. And I didn't know it until the last 5 minutes. I had completely written her off for 5 hours because she was different from me. How often do we do this? Miss out on an amazing connection because it involves someone or something different from us. And when we miss those connections, we miss the opportunities to grow, to create, to innovate. And right now, as we're emerging from a changed world into a changing world, we need innovation. Innovation drives progress. Innovation drives profits. We need your innovation. What? Mine? No. Leave me out of this, Bill. I'm not one of those crazy creative types. I'm not innovative. Oh, stop it. The only reason people don't think they're innovative is because they don't understand what innovation is. They think innovation is the lightning bolt that comes down from above and it only strikes the gifted few. Here's the secret. We are all the gifted few. For 15 years, I was the producer of the longest running, highest rated, and most award-winning regional comedy TV show in the United States. It was called Almost Live. For 15 years, our job, week after week after week, was to be innovative, on demand. And let me tell you something. When your paycheck depends on you being innovative, you can't afford to wait for a lightning bolt. Fortunately, as I learned over those 15 years, innovation is not about some magic lightning bolt. Innovation is all about connecting dots. So, okay, what are these dots? Well, these dots can be anything. Ideas, experiences, an elderly woman in the middle seat. Every article you read, every podcast you listen to, every person you interact with, that's a dot. And the more dots you have, the more connections you can make. The more connections, the more chances of an innovative breakthrough. Here's how it works. This is a sheet of Avery dots. Avery dots. There's a lot of dots here, which means a lot of connections. That's good. That's good. This is what it looks like inside the brain of an innovative thinker. Some people's brains, though, look more like this. Very sad. Not a lot of connections going on here. This is not the brain of a lifelong learner. How many of you know someone like this? Yeah. How many of you are related to someone like this? I mean, it just stands to reason, doesn't it, that the more dots you have, the more connections you can make, which means the odds of any one of those connections being that breakthrough innovation, that breakthrough idea that's going to move the needle for you, your business, your industry, or your world increase dramatically. But what do you notice about these dots? What do you notice about them? Yeah, they're all the same, aren't they? They're all 3/4 inch navy blue. Now, if all of your dots are 3/4 inch navy blue, if you only ever read the same kind of articles or same kinds of blogs, and they're always about the same subject, if you only listen to the same kinds of podcasts or the same music, if you only watch the same newscasts, if you only ever hang out with the same kinds of people, if all of your dots are 3/4 inch navy blue, then most of your innovative ideas are going to be 3/4 inch navy blue. It's better than nothing, but not exactly breakthrough, right? You know what I mean? But what if your dot collection looked more like this? Oh, now we're talking. Now you start connecting these dots, and there's no telling what color your connections, your creative ideas will be. A blue dot and a yellow dot make a green idea. And what if these dots were also different sizes and different shapes? What if your dots, the ideas, the experiences, the people in your life were different colors, different sizes, different shapes, different beliefs? Can you see the difference that would make in the quantity and the quality of your innovative ideas? Because you never know which dot is going to be the one that leads to the breakthrough. You never know which connection is going to be that missing piece that completes your particular puzzle. January 10th. January 10th, 1987. It's a Saturday. It's a show day for Almost Live, my TV show. And we are pumped. We are pumped because we've gotten a genuine big name to be our guest on tonight's show. Our guest tonight is this guy, Johnny Depp. Okay, he was younger then, but still, Johnny Depp. Now, Johnny was shooting a TV show at the time, just up the road in Vancouver, BC. It was called 21 Jump Street, and we got him. Happy dance! Until the morning of the show, I get a phone call. Bill, it's Johnny Depp. Listen, by the way, this is what phones looked like back then. Remember that? Remember how painful? Yeah, listen, I'm not going to be able to make it tonight. No, they scheduled reshoots for Jump Street, and I can't get out of it. I'm really sorry, but I have to cancel. String of bad words. You know this feeling, don't you? You've been there. You've had this happen to you, haven't you? I mean, maybe not the whole TV show Johnny Depp thing, but this has happened in your world, right? You know, you think you've done everything right, and you have. You know, you've planned it all out. You've done your homework. You've done the due diligence, and then the universe just pulls the rug right out from under you, right? This has happened. Maybe it's a flat tire on the way to that important meeting. Maybe a supplier goes out of business. Or maybe it's, I don't know, a global pandemic that shuts down the entire world. But you know what this feels like, right? Okay, so now we're in a panic. I call an emergency meeting and we try and come up with a guest for tonight's show. How about one of them Seahawks? No, they're out of town this week. What about that cute new anchor at Como TV? No, she's in rehab. She was. And on it goes, and it's starting to look hopeless when all of a sudden one of my writers, in fact it was my lowest paid writer, pops his head up and says, I might be able to do something with with liquid nitrogen. Clearly, he did not understand the situation. I mean, we're trying to come up with a guest for tonight's show, and he's babbling on about liquid nitrogen. Here's a pro tip. You can't interview liquid nitrogen. So we ignore him. We write him off for as long as we can until all of a sudden we just really get desperate. And then it's like, all right, Bill. His name was also Bill. Bill, tell us about the liquid nitrogen. And that's when Bill started to paint a picture for us. Hey guys, no, this could work. I mean, liquid nitrogen is very cold. You know, you take an onion, throw it in the liquid nitrogen, take a pair of tongs, pull the onion out, hit it with a hammer, it shatters like glass. Cool. No, guys, it gets better. You take a marshmallow, big old marshmallow, throw it in the liquid nitrogen. I take those tongs, pull the marshmallow out, pop it in my mouth, bite down, smoke pours out of my nose and mouth. Cool! And that night, Bill, my lowest paid writer, whose full name was Bill Nye, became Bill Nye the Science Guy. Why? Because he was different from us. We were all writers and producers. Bill Nye was and is a science guy. He saw the world differently than we did. He was the different colored dot. And you never know which dot is going to be the one that leads to the breakthrough. You never know which connection is going to be that missing piece of the puzzle. In 1440, Johannes Gutenberg connected a wine processor with movable type and created the printing press. He changed the world. In 1962, a collaborative team of 4 young men from Liverpool, England, connected blues, Motown, skiffle, and pop, and created the Beatles. They changed the world. In 2016, Burger King connected a Whopper with a burrito and created the Whopperito. The jury technically is still out on that one, but you see my point. You see my point. My point is this, that virtually every great invention, virtually every great idea, virtually every great thought that went on to change the world, or even just a small part of the world, came from someone, or a collaboration of someone's, seeing 2 or more different dots and connecting them in a way that nobody else ever had before. And you can do it too. You can be that innovator that drives your business, your industry, your world to a new level. You only have to do 2 things. Be a dot collector and be a dot connector. Can you do that? Of course you can. I started off by telling you about one plane trip. I want to end by telling you about another plane trip. I wasn't on this second plane trip, but my friend Jack was. Now, Jack made a lot of money as the owner of a large marketing firm, but now Jack is semi-retired. He lives in the Bahamas on the Turks and Caicos Islands. Now, if and when you ever think of Turks and Caicos, you probably think of it as a playground for the rich and famous, which it is. But, people live there too, like my friend Jack. So on this particular day, Jack was flying home from a business meeting in New York. Now, like me, Jack had an aisle seat. Unlike me, Jack's aisle seat was in first class, but like me, the seat next to Jack was empty. Until just before the doors close, one last passenger gets on the plane. Sits right next to Jack. But unlike me, Jack is a natural dot connector, which is why he was so successful in business. So Jack strikes up a conversation with his seatmate, whose name turns out to be Patty. And fairly soon, Patty asks Jack, what he does for a living. Oh, well, I used to own a marketing company, but now I'm semi-retired, so I get to spend my days indulging in my passion and my hobby, which is music. I'm a drummer and a blues singer. Well, Patty looked at Jack in his expensive, tailored 3-piece suit and said, you don't look much like a musician. Oh, that's because I just came from a business meeting, but 5 hours from now, I'm going to look completely different. Because you see, it's Wednesday. And every Wednesday, my neighborhood pub has an open jam session. And that's where I'm going to be. Tonight, 5 hours from now, I'm going to be playing drums and singing the blues. It's my favorite thing in the world. Yeah, I totally get it. I get what you mean. My husband's a musician, and he says the exact same thing. Right. So you know what I'm talking about then, right? Yeah, it's a great hobby. Yeah, it really is. I mean, my husband does it professionally, but still. Oh, does he? Well, good for him. Good for him. It's not easy, is it? It's not easy to make a living as a musician. Good for him. Is he a solo performer, or is he in a band? Oh, no, he's in a band. Well, that's just wonderful. Good for him. Is it anybody I might have ever heard of? Maybe the Rolling Stones. 5 hours later, Jack is playing drums in his blues club. They just started their second set when the door opens and in walks Patty with her husband. And that's the night my friend Jack spent an hour jamming with Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones. You never know which dot. You never know which dot is going to be the one that leads to that breakthrough. And if you miss it, it's gone. And along with it, the opportunities to grow, to create, to innovate. Once you miss it, it's gone. I missed out. I missed my opportunity. I missed my opportunity because I was unwilling to connect a dot that was sitting right next to me for 5 hours. Your opportunities, your dots, your breakthroughs, your innovations, they're all around you, just waiting for you to connect them. The ball's in your court. I don't know if you've read A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I haven't. And come on, let's be honest, you haven't either. But you probably know the opening line. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. I think most of us can agree that regarding 2020, Dickens got it half right. For a lot of us, especially business leaders, 2020 has been the worst of times. You may be feeling that right now. You may have had really high hopes for this year. New product launch, record profits, unlimited potential. And then there was this pandemic and everything changed. Individuals, businesses, entire industries were turned upside down in ways most of us have never seen before. Everything may have changed for you too. Instead of looking forward to those record profits, you may be wondering if you're even going to be in business a year from now. That's a scary place to be. Especially if you have others depending on you, your employees, your community, your family. It really does feel like the worst of times, doesn't it? But here's the thing. None of this is new. Oh, it might be new to you, and some of the specifics might be new, but going through the worst of times, businesses have been doing that for generations. Wars, pandemics, uprisings, recessions, businesses have seen it all. And every single time, some businesses folded and some businesses flourished. Daragold, Panasonic, and the Citizen Watch Company, they were all founded during the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. How about Sony Music, General Foods, and Hawaiian Airlines? They began during the Great Depression of 1929, a year when companies like Martin Guitars and Procter & Gamble also thrived while others went out of business. In every crisis throughout history, some businesses folded and some businesses flourished. So what's the difference? What separates the ones that make it from the ones that don't? One thing: innovation. The businesses that thrive innovate their way through the crisis. They realize that what worked before is just that, what worked before. So while the competition either A, goes into hibernation and tries to wait out the storm, or B, does what they've always done, only more so and faster, the businesses that thrive look at the situation and ask, what's fundamentally changed here? And how do we need to change in order to stay relevant, necessary, irreplaceable? And you've seen it already in 2020, haven't you? Companies that have figured out new, innovative ways to serve their customers and clients. You hear their stories and you think, wow, that's somebody who's figured it out. And you know what? The marketplace thinks that too. So who do you think they're going to want to do business with? Again, this isn't new. McKinsey reports that historically, Companies that invest in innovation through a crisis outperform the competition by upwards of 30%, even once the crisis has passed. It's really pretty clear, isn't it? I mean, right now, when we're all in the middle of the worst of times, your ability to innovate, to come up with creative ideas, and turn them into something of value that makes your customers shout out, there, that's what I need, right there. Thank goodness somebody finally figured it out. Your ability to do that is what's going to set you apart from your competition. Your ability to innovate is what will determine whether you fold or whether you flourish. See, the game has changed. And the only way to win when the game has changed is to be a game changer yourself. And that's why learning how to innovate right now, on demand, is the single most important thing you can do for the future of your business. And that's what I do. I help leaders and their teams with the how-to of innovation. You know, the how do you actually do it part. See, for 15 years, I was the executive producer of a sketch comedy TV show here in Seattle. We had to be innovative every week, on demand. That's where I learned the how-to. And I got pretty good at it. In fact, I won 29 Emmy Awards for being innovative. And by the way, all of my TV work was, by definition, done into a camera, over a screen. So this virtual thing is nothing new to me. Really, the only question is, how do you want to work together? Whether it's a 29-minute innovation jam session to energize your next virtual team meeting, a 50-minute interactive virtual keynote, or maybe a multi-day, let's roll up the sleeves and create some long-lasting results workshop, it's entirely up to you. The only wrong answer is to do nothing. Because in every storm, some businesses fold and some businesses flourish. So let's talk and see how together you and I can make sure that you end up in that second category. I look forward to talking to you soon.